saw this article by National Geographic titled "How Did the Channelled Scablands Form?" It's a very good article, and I like the photography that they have with it as well. One of the scientists that they interviewed in the article said that this landscape was hundreds of feet underwater. And the reason why he said that is because he understands river terraces. He understands how each of these river terraces are showing how the river decreased. Okay, this is the same spot on Google Earth. You can see that this is the same streamlined feature here. From the river to the tops of these banks where this was carved out is over 100 feet. But he's talking about all of this being hundreds of feet underwater. And the reason why you can know that is because you go all the way up here, and this is a river terrace as well. See how this has a nice sharp edge? And then when we look, we can see that this is the Channelled Scablands. Now, just because this is the most rutted out path doesn't mean that was the only thing underwater. That's just where it coalesced the most. But this entire landscape was deep underwater. And this here, we can see how this piece was streamlined by the river channels. Okay, but let's go over to this spot here. And this hillside here is over 600 feet tall, and it's got really nice lakeshore lines, really nice accretion ridges, and it's also got mounds on them. Right? Keep in mind, this is the most widespread geologic mystery in the entire world. And it seems as though it is heavily correlated with a large amount of water that decreased rapidly. Because the Paluxy River was known to have decreased rapidly, as well as the Columbia River. Now, when we go back to our spot, we notice that there are mounds all over the landscape. So mounds are heavily correlated with the channeled scablands and with any scablands. All right, this little mesa here was carved out by the floodwaters of the whatever carved the channeled scablands. Not necessarily going to call that a meltwater event, mostly because if you zoom in, you find that there's salt all over the place. And when we find most of our salt scablands, they're right next to the ocean. Salt scablands are an incredibly common feature on the surface of the earth. Because we know that there's terraces hundreds of feet above this, we can assume that this decreased rapidly. And that spot looks exactly like what we find in Oman, right? But this is nothing to do with the glacier meltwater because it's on the Saudi Arabian peninsula. And it's a marine terrace. So even though it's got a completely different location and doesn't have a meltwater event that's correlated with it, it still has the exact same features of mounds and accretion ridges or lakeshore lines. And this also is somewhat terraced, right? You can see that these are got the same type of terrace-like features. And it's also got large ravines. And then you can see how these are accretion ridges. And then if you go to Ethiopia, same type of deal. You've got massive ravines that begin suddenly. You've got accretion ridges and mounds. And then in Oregon, we find the same thing, except for this isn't just hundreds of feet in elevation, it's thousands of feet higher than it should be. All of these accretion ridges and terraces are thousands of feet above the Columbia River. So the actual elevation, let's go back and see the actual elevation. Great, I lost the spot. But oh yeah, here we go. It's not the same spot, but it still works. We got the mounds, we've got current ruts even in this spot, we've got the terraces. The elevation here is 1,350 meters. And here at the top of this, it's only 430 meters. So this is around 3,000 feet higher in elevation than what we find in this. Let's check the Pelusi here. This right here is these mounds, 330 meters above sea level. And in Oregon, same type of features, mounds, terraces, all sorts of stuff, 1,330 meters. So this is over 1,000 meters higher in elevation, and it's got terraces and mounds and accretion ridges and current ruts. So that scientist who was saying that the Paluxy River was hundreds of feet underwater was under-exaggerating. The truth is it was actually over 3,000 feet deep. And that's what we learned from this part of Oregon here. Then if you go not too far, you'll find massive salt scablands, insane river canyons with directional lakes. And that's just too incredible to talk about in this video.